The first thing to take away is to understand that we do have a hope of finding lasting happiness in things that don't last. And as much as we might hope, that is just never going to happen. Now, you could ask yourself, what does that mean for the Tantric viewpoint, in which we say, well, actually everything is real. Everything is godly. Everything is part of the Brahman, of the Absolute, of the Supreme, of the everything. In the Tantric viewpoint, you could say that Maya is the appearance of Brahman. All the phenomena in the cosmos, you could say, are like the dress of God, of the Absolute, of the Supreme. In Tantra, we say the world is real, but our superficial perception of the world is not real. In this case, you could say Maya, or this illusory viewpoint, is as if you would love the clothes of your lover more than your lover. You are interested in them only when they wear that nice dress or that uniform or that thingy that you like, but you are not actually in love with the person within. In the same way, when we have this exaggerated illusory interest in the things of the world, in the transient things, we are accordingly in love with the clothes of God. It's still God's clothes, nothing wrong with them, but we lose the viewpoint upon that person that wears the clothes. We lose the viewpoint upon the depth of creation that hides within it the presence of God. Now, where to find lasting happiness? What is the solution part of this equation? The first thing, to just let it sink in once more, is the transient is visible, is graspable, obvious to us, but clearly it is transient, it is not lasting. The transient is in our face. We can touch it, we can feel it, we can perceive it with our senses. But it is not lasting. The lasting, the ever-existing, eternal reality is invisible, but it has a very clear effect within this world. Even we could, through the visible objects of this world, or people of this world, connect to the invisible everlasting if we just look close enough. The way that the everlasting promise of happiness, eternal lover, eternal source of all fulfillment of all possible desires of our soul, God, the Spirit, the eternal, the way that it becomes visible within this world, and especially within our being, is as vice and virtue. And you can go back to one of our lectures that we have on YouTube, Facebook, and so on. And once you're there, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, all of that stuff. Is a lecture that talks about vice and virtue. So you can go back to that and also study a little bit more. Because vice and virtue are what tells you somehow where you're at in your connection to that everlasting, supreme, eternal nature. All vices are born from a greater wish, a greater desire for the world and its transient objects, things, people, connections, and so forth. When we love the transient world and everything within it more than we love the eternal, the spirit, vice is born. When we, you could say, through our exaggerated love and desire and attachment to the transient things, sort of hook ourselves into it. Now that transient things, as it is moving down the river of life, it will drag you along and even can make you drown from the attachment that you might have to it. On the other hand, all virtue is born when at least one spiritual ideal, but in general the spiritual realm, the eternal realm, becomes more desirable to us than the things of this world. That doesn't mean we cannot find that eternal nature within the things of this world, but that should be implicit within that love. When we are more interested in loving the eternal, loving God, loving the Spirit, loving that which will last, then virtue is naturally born. Because of course also we know that in Tantra we say you become as that which you love. If you love the eternal, you yourself will become eternal and therefore manifesting all the eternal virtues, godly attributes, and so forth. When we connect to that which lasts, looking beyond appearances, we awaken within us all virtue and therefore starting to act naturally, full of purpose and meaning. You can see in this way that somehow the root cause of all good things happening in your life lies in you leaning onto that which is actually stable in eternity, which is the Spirit, God, the Supreme, however you might want to call it. So even if then we are moving around within the transient world, but having ourselves anchored into that love for the eternal, even the devotion towards the eternal, then naturally still from such a transient life, all wonderful eternal qualities will arise naturally, like purposeful living, meaning, compassion, empathy, love, all the wonderful godly qualities. Practically speaking, you have a very simple equation. On one side of the balance, so to say, of the scale, you have your aspiration, your wish, your desire for that which lasts. And on the other side of the scale, you have the sum total of all your desires and attachments to that which doesn't last. In accordance with how much weight you put on the two sides, you come out with an overall ratio, which will then determine how close you will be to that which is everlasting, or how bound you will be to the transient things of this world. So to sum it up in one sentence, the first thing to take away is to understand that we do have a hope of finding lasting happiness in things that don't last. And as much as we might hope, that is just never going to happen. Once we accept that and we understand that, we have a chance to now make a choice in our investment, so to say, into happiness, into love. Do we want to invest that on into an eternal place, into the eternal spirit and all the virtues connected to it? Or do we want to invest it into transient attachments and desires that will spark some interesting things within our being momentarily, but will not become a reliable source of love, of happiness, and of fulfillment? Now that we understand this, let's see what can we do practically with it. Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on spirituality, Tantra, and more.
And if you want to sign up for our online classes or for our retreats, you can see our website on the description below.